Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 63 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment around the video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and Talk Got Topic day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. To catch updates about the podcast or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice, listed in the description below. I'm your host, GM, and overseer of Podcast of Five Rings, Obsidian, who's also a pastry chef now. If you follow us on Facebook. I lied and said I'm moonlighting as a pastry chef. I am moonlighting now. I have two jobs, but that's neither here nor there.
But it's not being a pastry chef?
I was going to say, I feel betrayed now.
I know.
And I gave you recipes.
I know, exactly. I have to commit Sudoku. I just ran away with your recipes and sold them to the highest bidder, Tets.
No!
Your big shot was ruined.
Truly, that is like the most evil of evils in the culinary world.
We got the wall that will not fall. Tetsuo, come on down.
I think he just fell when you crushed him with the knowledge of Celia's. I think you just destroyed him with the knowledge that you sold all his recipes.
He's not coming down.
No.
Oh well.
No. I am sitting atop my wall, staring down at you disapprovingly.
As you have been all week. The Dark Fortune Duelist meta, come on down.
I'm not going to be on your disgusting show.
Oh no. I'm Drew Carey, standing up here sweating. The Resident Wildcard Mal, come on down.
I'm already behind you.
Oh, oh no, Sephiroth. It's over, Tails.
Nothing personal, kid.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh god, your flash dab. Your flash dab is so much stronger than mine. I've disappointed Oz and Sama. Oh my god. Well, we're here. What's everybody been up to? It's been 2 weeks.
I have been working overtime every day.
You're on that me from like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've been working overtime. I was trying to get in some extra cash, cha-ching, and really I wanted to work the overtime for it, so here we are.
Hey, man.
9 to 10 hour days. Love it. Great.
It sucks when you're doing it, but then when you get the paycheck, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, the paycheck will make it all feel better, but while I'm doing it...
I got all this video coming out. Yeah.
Because I think I've already said this before, but I've got a nearly an hour's time drive to and from. So that's
you're gone for like 12 hours.
Yeah, so if I stay overtime, that's technically all I'm doing is technically just expanding the amount of time that it's going to take before I truly get home. So,
yeah.
That's fun.
But it's
you and Tets can be overtime buddies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So much overtime this last week.
I worked overtime yesterday, so I know how it feels.
Lots of overtime, and then when I'm home, I've been doing a lot of personal projects at home, which...
You're building a shelf.
No. I mean, I actually have a bookshelf.
You're building a big shelf.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
have a bookshelf that eventually needs to be built, but we have a few things around the house that need to be done, and then I'm working on some PDFs for some things, and just so many things.
Speaking of things that I got done around the house, we ended up actually rearranging 3 of our rooms last week.
You've been studying Feng Shui.
Yes, I felt like my Zen was completely off, and I needed to re-establish myself with nature.
Balance your chakras and all that stuff.
Yeah, that is why I decided to play more games, because I really feel like that helps.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, no, we so originally we had taken 3 of the rooms. We have like a family room / living room, depending on what you want to call it. And then we had our basement, and then our own room. And our own room was kind of acting as like a hub. Like our bedroom was acting kind of as a hub for everything, because we actually had like our computers up there. Because it was just how it was set up, and then we're up there.
Mm-hmm.
But we decided that like our basement was kind of like another gaming area, board games and what. But the living room wasn't getting used for anything. Like, it was set to like entertain guests, but I hate people, so I don't want to entertain anybody.
I see you two are a man of good taste.
Yeah, pretty much. So I realized this is kind of a wasted room for a purpose that I'm never going to use it for, because the most people I ever have over is like the group that I just tend to game with every week.
Yeah.
And then that's it. So we decided, like, this is stupid. We're not using the rooms, right? So we moved everything from like our basement that had like all of our board games and our RPG books. We brought the cabinets and the shelving, and we brought it all up into the living room, and then everything in that room was taken out, and we moved it into other places or got rid of it, and just rearranged the house completely. And then everything, we turned the basement, we took like our computers from our own room, and then we put them into the basement, and we made that just like our full-on electronic gaming area now. So now all the basement consists of just everything electronics.
So now you're basement dwellers.
Yeah, we're pretty much basement dwellers for realsies now. But then
I can only assume you're always on the computer.
that's pretty much where I live my life. Yeah, no, if it's not at work, it's generally on the computer doing something like that. So
every interaction I've had with you has been on the computer. So I mean,
that's generally how. That generally our distance.
I've never seen you not be on.
I've never seen him in the room with X ever before, so he must be. So now our basement's acting as like our complete electronic hub. We made the living room like the tabletop and RPG room, and then our bedroom actually acts as a legit bedroom now, instead of living in that bloody room. Because that's essentially what I ended up living in the bedroom, because it had everything. The only time I ever stepped out was for like board games or whatnot, or food. Yeah, the necessities of life, barring those.
Gaming and food.
But so that was what we were doing all last week, and that was an interesting run. You go to work, because I could get up, I go to work, get up around 4:30, go to work, be in by 6. Then I come home. I would stay like an hour, 2 hours later on, 9-10 hour workday. Come home anywhere from like anywhere from 4:30 to potentially 5:30. And then I would immediately just get right into rearranging and redoing these rooms at the same time. And then I would just get ready at bed around 8:30, and that would be it. That was literally Monday, Friday last week. And then Saturday and Sunday we actually do some of the time just cleaning up. So yeah.
Nice.
You busy, buddy.
Yeah, it was a very busy week last week. This has been a far quieter week.
What about you,
I don't
know. Playing a lot of mobile games. I don't know why.
Watching streams, playing mobile games.
Watching streams,
watching random anime.
Just living the life.
Oh, and playing Persona.
The fifth one?
Yes, the fifth. Replaying Persona.
Did they release new DLC for it or something? Or
no, I just wanted to play it again.
Yeah, I've been watching
a stream of it.
It's been great.
It's a great game.
That's it just reminds me of like it's not a comparison of games. Persona 5 is way better. But and I haven't even played it, and I'll
right.
I haven't even played Persona. You don't even know what I'm to say, but you'll immediately like think, yeah, I called it when I say it. But like I played the crap out of Way of the Samurai 2 and respectively for the PS2 and the PS3. And that was how those games were. Those were like one of the few games I'll go back years later and I will just start suddenly.
Yeah. Before that, I was replaying Final Fantasy X again for the umpteenth time.
Yeah. How many copies of that do you own again?
5.
6.
Or have bought, not own currently.
Okay. Have bought on different consoles. Let's say that, or of different consoles. Not just...
I mean, I bought it twice on the PS2, I think, and then I've got it for the 3, 4, and computer.
Yep.
PS3, PS4, and on the
all
computer.
You need is your PS TV, so you can get it for the Vita. Like you're crying about the other day.
No, that was so I could play Persona 4.
Yeah, I know.
Golden.
I never got to play Golden. It's crazy how freaking the PS TVs. I swear to God, they were like $50.
Yeah, they used to be real cheap, but now that they've been out of production for years,
they've just literally skyrocketed to like $200.
They cost more than a Vita.
Yeah.
Isn't it that
you can't even play every Vita game on them?
Yeah.
That feels like it's just the nature of like when like an artist dies and suddenly like their popularity skyrockets for a short period. It always feels like the same.
I mean, the Vita's I think finally going out of production in Japan soon.
Yep.
So it's
Yep,
only
they're
going to
not
It's
making
skyrocket
dying,
as well.
Squirtle. It's dying.
It's a shame too, but it's understandable because even I mean, even to an extent, Nintendo is moving into trying to fuse a console and a.
Well, I mean, yeah, the PlayStation Vita had tons of
there was
problems.
problems with it too.
Yeah. From the beginning. So
I mean, it was doing.
I just wish I could play Golden. It's like the only reason.
Just have to wait
want
for the emulator, Mel.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
This is the PS Vita
Nintendo is cracking hard down on ROMs, and certain ROM sites are just completely getting rid of all their ROMs for it.
Yeah.
So emulators might be hard to come by now, which is a shame because, like, I get it. The companies deserve the money for the product they have. But when you haven't released that product for 15, 20 years...
Sometimes you can't hit that product.
Let's table this conversation, because that's actually a good topic.
That is a good topic.
I've seen a lot of people talking about that lately, actually, so that might be a good one for next week. What about you, Tets? What have you been doing? Other than building stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's just working on projects and work itself. I mean, I guess I also downloaded Mafia 3 for the PS4, so for this month's
you're not playing the new
game,
Yakuza game?
Not yet, because I want to pick up Yakuza... Well, because I need to play the 6th, but it's on my GameFly, and I have to finish playing the current GameFly game that I'm playing, which might come up later in this episode. In addition to that, I want to play through Kiwami before I play 6, and then I want to play through Kiwami 2, after I play through 6. So that's kind of my docket for the Yakuza games. For whenever I get to them.
Yep.
Ho, ho, ho.
I've been, because I've only caught a few episodes of it while it was on Adult Swim or Toonami. I can't remember which it aired on, but I've been watching Eureka 7, which I've enjoyed.
Did it air on either one of them? I don't think it aired
it used to be Adult Swim, I think.
Yeah, I think it was
Was
Adult
it?
Swim.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've
That's
enjoyed
how
it.
I watched it.
It's slow in the beginning, but when it
Yeah.
starts picking up, it's pretty good.
I do like it a lot.
Yeah, it kind of really shifts gears.
It really does.
Yeah. Basically, when he meets like Ray and Charles and stuff is when I was like, yeah. That's when I started getting like pretty.
Yeah.
I guess like Anemone and stuff and Dominic. Yeah. I've been doing that and playing World of Warcraft. So there you go. And I've barely been playing. I barely got to play any of it.
Wait, you've played playing the new World of Warcraft?
Yep, a little bit.
How is it so far?
It's World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
It's the story I actually like. It's kind of a lot of people are talking about like scaling issues, like because the last expansion was all about like artifacts and legendary equipment.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been scaling well. Like those have been outperforming items that are supposed to be gear of higher item levels and stuff, just because the abilities on them. So there were like people like my rogue like one shots legendary monsters and stuff until you get to like a certain level. But it's all right. I don't know how long I'll play it, but yeah, no, it's fine. The other thing people gripe about is the global cooldown issue.
Yeah, I've seen talk about that. I like from what I've seen though, personally, it's not that big of a deal. I just know that it kind of sucks because it's nice to have some things off of it. Off of it. It gives a little bit more of a quicker play.
Yeah. Well, I've been playing Druid, Guardian Druid, and their active mitigation is on global cooldown, so it feels a bit janky. Yeah. Not even janky, but just wonky more so, I guess.
For the when I was doing when I was doing some death knighting, it was kind of weird to like have to wait for the global cooldown to come back up just to like stun target with a strangulate or something. That felt really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, almost everything's off the global cold or on the global cooldown for bears. It seems like so.
I would say it's probably not. I don't know why they did this, and I would have to say it's probably all it did was slow down a game that's arguably what was loved kind of speed. It just feels really weird that that's a choice that they made this game. I don't really think it. I think it's like a Blizzard choice where they did it to try something new, but they like they to quote a movie they never really asked if they should. They just decided that they could.
Yeah,
and that's I think
very out of left field.
Yeah, and I don't see how this benefits the game at all. I really don't see how it like makes a fight more interesting or how it makes gameplay better or more immersive in some shape or form.
It feels worse for tanking. I can't speak for healing and DPSing, obviously.
Yeah,
but it's just weird that active mitigation is on it because it's less reactive. You have to like
it really. You kind of have to.
Think ahead.
Yeah, and like I mean that's always been a part of like if you're playing PvP or PvE, obviously do a little bit more thinking ahead and whatnot. But it is weird that in a game where generally you might need to be quick to react to something is kind of being cut off to make you forcibly almost think of this game kind of like a quasi tactics approach, and that just seems really weird in a game that's very already quick with its 1 second, 1.5 second.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I might have more to say on it like next week. I'll hit level cap this weekend probably. So
I have to pick it, start working on it. I haven't even actually played the new expansion, but I did play a little bit of the old stuff.
I'll always play a little bit when the new expansion comes out just to see what's going on with it, because I used to play a lot back in the day. So
yeah, that was the same. So it's hard. It's hard to let go. It's like an alcoholic addiction.
It's like your one cousin that you see every other year, and
yeah, pretty much.
He's got problems, and he tells you about how he got a run-in with the law, and it's a bit awkward like, talking to him, but you're happy to see him a little bit. He's your family.
He's overall a good person. He just does some dumb things or makes choices that are questionable.
Thank you, Meta. All right, let's get into our topics, and you are up first, sir. That sir would be Meta. Sir Meta, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, my lord, I have a fine feast prepared.
Excellent.
Since we're talking,
bring my bib. I wish to dine on some games.
Well, I've got plenty of you because I call this feast Gamescom 2018. I like to stay topical. Gamescom. Oh god, that would have been perfect.
Hey.
So yeah, Gamescom is going on. It's a I'm not really sure what it is, but it's generally just a convention for games, showing off stuff.
It's baby E3.
Yeah, it's kind of really what it is. It's like the aftershocks of E3. It erupts and like a baby Godzilla comes out of a volcano or something. That's what Gamescom is. It's taking place in I want to say it's Cologne, just because as I see it, but it's in Germany.
Cologne.
Yeah, Cologne. It's a very decent smelling town in Germany. And it started just this Tuesday, which was just essentially open to business and whatnot, and for business and like public halls and whatnot. And then
business and pleasure.
Yeah, pretty much. And then public attendees were able to start, coming into the public halls the 22nd, and then it's going to be going all to the 25th. But I mean, a lot of companies have already dropped tons of information on it because it's not like it's a full on press conference, so to speak. Although if you did see the one press conference that was really there, that matters, and I'm not going to say it's Microsoft because blah. Nvidia did drop out information that they are finally going to be bringing to life their new.
Oh boy, $1,200.
Yeah, their new. And I don't know why they named it this RTX as opposed to GTX. I don't get that, but hey.
They wanted to name it after Rooster Teeth Expo.
Rooster Teeth Expo. 2080 cards. So they're bringing out their new line. It's going to be following the new convention. I'm surprised again. Like, two things surprised me was the RTX. The other one was that they're going by the thousands meter and not, say, doing the hundreds meter and then jumping to the 1,000 when they feel it's appropriate. They've gotten to 900 and they can't go any higher. I feel like it would help their naming conventions in the long run. But what do I know? I guess 2080 sounds way cooler than 1080, which I guess to an extent it might.
They don't want you to associate it with 1080p. That's what
I guess. I guess so. I really don't understand why.
It's 4K, dude.
But I mean, like, they touched on that and the 1080. So the new one is based on their new Turing. Just to give a really short based on it, their new architecture is Turing architecture. They've got 3 of them. It's going to follow the same concept. There's the 2070, the 2080, and then the 2080 Ti. Which, I mean, comes down to really being that the 2070 is your kind of like your lower end model. It's still good, but it's the lower end one. Your 2080 is like your strong model. It's going to do everything that you need to do. And then if you go to Ti, it's like, this is the one you want to use if you really want to get a powerhouse out.
Yeah. I'm hoping stuff goes down because my graphics card blew up last weekend.
Well, NVIDIA also has said that it seems that the cryptocurrency drive for graphics cards is going away.
Yeah, I don't think hopefully it stays away.
Last year they expected $100 million in sales for for cards for cryptocurrency. They made 18 million.
Ooh,
that's a bit of a difference.
That is a huge difference.
They expect cryptocurrency to be negligible on the demand for graphics cards.
That's good.
Which will be nice. That'll be nice.
Yeah, I heard that they're actually going towards a different kind of processing, but I can't remember what kind.
Well,
for at least the high-end cryptocurrencies.
Godspeed to those who suffer because of it.
But tell me about what you really want to what do you really want to talk about here?
I want to talk about to you real-time ray tracing. You see, real-time ray tracing is that's I was just gonna say the last thing about the cards is that
I was really interested and then you decided not to tell me.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So real-time ray tracing, as beautiful as it is pretty much that this is gonna get into like the nerdier stuff, but I mean if you enjoy games, this is something to know. Generally, when you're creating lights in a game, it's generally to a fixed position, posture, and you can change how it affects and whatnot, but it's not really going to move or change. You have to have lights that will activate and deactivate to cast light, to give the illusion that you're moving around in an area with light. But the way ray tracing works is essentially it is creating shadows based on that light source in a real-time setup. So instead of having kind of like the static light that's always going to be pointing in one direction and the shadows are kind of always going in one direction, if you move around, the light source will not only be able to move position, but the shadows that are affected by that will move and adjust themselves appropriately. Which ultimately doesn't really do much for like your gaming, for your gaming experience, quote unquote. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to care if like how great a shadow looks if your gameplay sucks. But it is a piece of thing that will make game development better and easier for developers in the future.
Yeah,
because,
I was gonna say from a developer standpoint, that's actually kind of really cool.
Yeah, so it really will change up how some things are done, but it's not super big and important. Speaking of games, which we can really get into, and I'm just gonna skip right over Xbox press conference.
All right, Meta, tell me what you really want to talk about here. Let me ask you.
So now, what I really want to talk about
is it something coming out in March?
I think it might be coming out in March, and it might be the
Virgil
fifth
Maylaw
installment. Yeah, it rhymes with
So the fifth
Devil's
Soulsborne game, Sekiro.
Fifth Soulsborne game, Sekiro. That's what I want to talk about. Not Devil May Cry
Hearts 3, birthed by fragmentary sleeping.
Patrons of the Liberation Front. I'm telling you, it'll have a Metal Gear Solid title eventually. No, I want to talk about the best thing of all, which is Devil May Cry 5, because it's great and amazing. The game came out. They've shown a 15-minute demo, a gameplay demo of it, and it looks, it looks great. There's nothing else to say about that. The gameplay looks wonderful.
Is it shaping up how you was hoping it would?
Yeah, it's
Are you feeling better from?
I am feeling better about it. It's been a slow recovery process.
But Dante he fights with motorcycles.
So it's been a very slow process. I've had a lot of hurdles to cross. I'm only just finally being able to function in society again. But every step is a mountain, so to speak.
You're no longer a hikikomori.
The world is a harsh place to live with Devil May Cry 5. The game has been looking fine and whatnot. I loved that I really actually had thought they were going to show off more Dante stuff at Gamescom, because I mean they really showed off a huge chunk to Nero, but it makes sense that they really wanted to show off a bit of who Nero is, please. They wanted to show off Nero. They wanted to show off like the gameplay, and they wanted to kind of do it with the character that they are personally recommending that you do play when you pick up the game. You can
Do
play.
You think they're moving to him as more of like?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, I wouldn't say the face, but they have stated that the Sons of Sparta storyline is coming kind of to the end with this game. It really is kind of like the final chapter in the Sons of Sparta, and I think they kind of want to move away from Dante and Virgil and move on to new characters, which is a shame because Dante is a lovable character for so many reasons. It's very hard to like let that kind of character go because he really is unique as a video game protagonist. But they really want to put Nero is going to be a fine replacement. I'm sure we're going to get to love him and see him grow through the games as they continue on. And the new character, this mysterious V,
Whoever could it be?
Whoever could it be? They have confirmed that it's not Virgil. It is somebody completely new. But he might have. There's been a few theories out there. One of the theories is that he is named Virgil, and he's actually a son of Dante, and he named him Virgil after his brother. So there might be that. We don't know. There's nothing really to say. They haven't really released anything. They are. Nico has been expanded on. They have revealed that her mother is Nell Goldstein, which, unless you're really deep into Devil May Cry lore from books that are not considered actual canon, it doesn't really matter. But Nell Goldstein was the gunsmith who was said to have created ebony and ivory for Dante and modified it so that it could handle his usage of guns. Because in one of the books, again, it's not canon, but one of the books, it stated that anytime he used a gun, he would just shred the thing because he could fire it way faster than it should be. So that was that kind of cool. It was kind of cool to see them kind of like give that that nod to a novel that came out years ago of this character and whatnot. But yeah, so the game looks great. It's wonderful. I'm actually kind of excited to see it's shaping up to. They're adding in a lot of cool mechanics with Nero's breaker arm. It is pretty interesting that Dante, as they revealed him, has a motorcycle as a weapon. I gotta say though, the moment he took that motorcycle, the moment that motorcycle,
Persona 5 did it.
The moment that motorcycle came apart and he was wielding it like a sword, as like a chainsaw sword motorcycle.
Final Fantasy 13 did it.
Oh, that's true. Nah, but it was Shiva. It really wasn't being wielded as a weapon.
That's true.
I don't know. Look, when I saw that, I was just like, wow, this feels so appropriate for Dante to wield something like this. So it's looking forward to it. I hope the next bit of information we do get dropped on though is seeing Dante.
They have said that they want to make a game that has a real hard focus on action.
Yes, as they have put it, they want this to be the best action game of the current dynasty for the Emperor before he kind of abdicates and gives to and hands it off. So they really want to make this like the de facto best action game, and as far as I am seeing it to be, it probably is going to be that way. It is shaping up to be something really wonderful. Not that there can't be another game that comes out and does not take that away, but for a pure action game, it is looking wonderful. But it's not the only action game on the floor. If you've been watching, you might have seen either Resident Evil 2 or Sekiro, both which have definite action to them, though they are not pure action.
Resident Evil 2 is coming out in spring as well, isn't it?
Sekiro is a pure action game.
Well, it's got stealth elements to it, though.
Sorry, it doesn't have any RPG elements, though.
Yeah, no. And in that regard, you're absolutely right. It is a pure action game. It does not have RPG elements in that regard.
There's no leveling up or equipment.
Yeah, there's no leveling up. It's
other than ninja items, but you always have your starter katana.
Yep, you always do, which is actually really interesting. It feels like a very old school game coming to a very old school design style of a game where you just don't.
Well, they
get, like,
did
all
the
these extra
Tensho,
things.
or they did some Tensho games apparently as well.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
It's pretty interesting. I mean, there's a lot they've been showing off. There's no way I'm gonna be able to get to it all of it. I'm just picking out the hihighlights for what I feel is great.
I really want to play.
I'm excited
Sekiro.
about it.
Yeah, Sekiro. I mean, Sekiro looks wonderful. The idea, actually, the concept of like kind of the meter, the poise system, as they call it,
Right.
where you are essentially trying to knock them off balance and keep yourself balanced in order to perform powerful, damaging, or instant killing moves, depending on what you're facing, is a very interesting concept. It looks like a lot of the damage and how you're going to win this game is really going to come down to that. It looks like regular hitting of an opponent isn't.
No, it's not really.
It's not conducive.
It's either you have to like wear them out or get a stealth kill.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting approach to the game. It looks very lethal. The mechanic of, and quite to its name, shadows die twice, is that during the game there are times where you will be able to quite literally resurrect on the spot, and if you do so with the enemy looking away and far enough away, because it looks like it creates a sound that they hear as well and that they'll turn back. But if you do it far enough away from them looking away, you can actually just then stealth up on them and kill them without them ever noticing, which is
you can
really interesting.
If you can die and then resurrect yourself. But if you die again, you have to kill whoever killed you the second time to be able to resurrect again, basically.
Yeah, which
so
is
you can't just keep resurrecting.
Yeah, you'll have to keep doing it.
I mean, it's one until you get, or at least until you kill that person.
Yep. I mean, it's a really interesting way for the game to work. I'm wondering if it's going to be a stage design where you go from stage to stage, or if it's going to be completely open world. But it sounds.
I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be. I mean, I think it'll be more like Dark Souls 1 is what I believe they were shooting for.
Okay.
Which, well, at least Dark Souls is technically an open world, but has like choke points that funnel you to the next area. At least, except for an Orlando, its own thing.
I guess not open world is the word I think may be useful. It might be saying that single map. It's a single map,
right?
Where there is quite literally in the game only one map. You are never transitioning from like a new stage with loading screens. At least in the traditional sense, like you're not selecting level 1 or level 2.
Well, that's what I Dark Souls has 3 maps.
Okay.
Sort of. There's an Orlando, which you get taken to this area, where the gods lived, and then there's the final area of the game it's also its own. But like, have you played Dark Souls 1?
I have not played Dark Souls 1, but I mean, as far as
basically the whole the first half of the game is all this one interconnected map, and you can cheat by like doing a ledge skip or whatever and like shoot all the way down to the bottom of the map because it's all open.
Yeah, so there you go.
Skip a large portion.
If that's what they're kind of going for, then I would kind of consider just to be that open world like experience.
But I don't know how quite open world they can do because they introduced the grappling hook, which lets you have a large increase in mobility.
There's I mean we might see.
So we'll see.
I just want to grapple around all over the place.
That it actually looks a lot of fun.
Because I need my Spider-Man game in September and March,
Yeah, and then I mean, like I mentioned, RE2. RE2 is shaping up. They just finally released Claire gameplay, so you'll get to see how it rocks and whatnot. They will not be allowing anybody to demo it, unfortunately. Only press. As I was seeing in an interview, apparently it is only open to press individuals, so that's kind of a shame. Because it's been really cool for some people to get their hands on and really give us another gameplay impression. But I don't know if there's really much else to say from the E3 one, because the E3 impression.
Yeah.
I have never played a Resident Evil game.
It's not the same Resident Evil game. It looks great though. It looks phenomenal. The horror, the tension. Oh, beautiful.
I've seen most of them streamed.
Yeah, I have actually seen most of them streamed too.
4, 5, Manflating Giraffe, 7, and then the 1 remake. The remake of 1.
Yeah, I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I've seen almost all of them now. I've just never played them. But it's interesting. I'm looking forward to this game. I might actually pick it up. It looks really fun. And Lily, I know, loves horror games, so this would be right up her alley.
Yeah.
Speaking of other horror games,
That Toy Story level. Right?
yeah, that Toy Story,
That's
absolutely,
horrifying.
that is the most
Buzz Lightyear.
horrifying.
10 minutes
I'll get
of
to it. I
gameplay.
promise, Obs. I'll get to it. Call of Cthulhu gameplay finally dropped. 4 minutes, just 4 minutes, not even concurrent gameplay, just 4 minutes
of random gameplay.
Yeah,
But still, it's more than we had.
yeah, it's more than I mean. This thing's been talked about, I think, since 2016 or 2017.
Yeah.
It's been known, and then it's been shown, and like nothing really else. The game is really interesting. From what I've seen, and apparently the game is going to have 4 different endings, but they're not like a worst to best ending. They're just going to change depending on how you play the game and your sanity at the end of it. And the way it works is that going through the game, you are trying to put together essentially what happened to a painter's daughter, why she died in this fire inside the mansion. The more as you play through the game, the more information that you pick up will certainly help you solve the mystery. But it also goes to a lifetime, at least for the game, of sanity loss. The more information you know, the more insane you start to become. And that will affect the end of the game. So depending on how many clues you pick up to prove something, and how much you piece back together will also start to break you down as the game goes on, and could even deny you certain options towards the end of the game. There's certain also effects, like you can also do certain things as you're finding clues or you're dealing with certain things in the game. You can start creating forms
it's
of
first
phobia.
person.
Yeah, it is first person. It's not going to be a fast first person game, though, from what I understand. I mean, it probably will have moments of rushing, but apparently you can develop claustrophobia or necrophobia, stuff like that, where you can start to you might hide. But if you've got claustrophobia, your character will start to have blurred vision, certain other effects that will make it harder for you just to hide in a small dark area.
And hallucinations.
Yeah, and hallucinations. There's even a point where apparently if you start losing too much sanity towards the end of the game, or if you get deeper in, you've lost too much from trying to investigate too much, you will start having creatures that don't even actually exist show up and attack you, only for you to snap back to reality. But it is what it is.
Oh, there goes gravity.
That's what I was about to say, Mal. You beat me to
there goes gravity. Yeah, right. So it's a very interesting game. It's very cool to see this which I'm assuming is a very small company, because I have never really heard of them all that much, to say the least. Cyanide, yeah. I don't, as far as I'm aware, they're not a big company, but I mean,
they're French.
They
Canadian.
Yes, they are a French-Canadian game company.
They don't seem to have much else on their
lots
Wikipedia
of
page.
Tour de France games.
Wow. They've got a lot underneath them, but I wouldn't say it's anything big. Lots of pros.
They're doing the werewolf game.
They did Blood Bowl.
Did they do the what is it?
I'm really excited about the werewolf
goblin game. Sticks or something like that?
Yep, they did Sticks as well.
Okay.
Oh yeah. But yeah, nothing huge. Couple whatchamacallums. What is this? Games Workshop. They did a Space Hulk, Deathwing, and Blood Bowl.
Yep, they did Blood Bowl, which is probably the one that I know the most of.
A lot of cycling manager.
Yeah, lots of cycling, and they have even a horse race manager.
They're French.
Horse race manager too. Yeah, so
Canadian.
French Canadian.
Same thing.
It's not technically the same. I would say they will fight you. They will fight you on that with molasses and
they can come.
Hey, people die in the Great Molasses Flood.
They can come 1,000 miles down here.
That's why I said they'll fight you with molasses. Molasses is dangerous. So you got that. Then we've got obviously Kingdom Hearts 3 has more of it dropped down. One day, I'm certain
21 died.
20. Jesus.
The molasses disaster of 1919.
Not Toy Story. Kingdom Hearts, I mean.
I told you Toy Story was horrifying.
God.
Buzz Lightyear killed 21 people in the Toy Story massacre.
So yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2.
His laser's not fake anymore.
Yeah, Jesus. You die in the game, you die in real life.
Exactly.
So they got that going on. What you calls it? So yeah, I mean, Kingdom Hearts, they dropped a Toy Story level live dev playthrough. So if you want to see some more actual playing of the game,
Yep.
For once, there it is.
It looks so pretty.
I bet it. Yeah.
In 60 frames per second.
The new Metro looks cool.
The new Metro does look good.
Deus Ex Machina, the new basically the evolution of Armored Core 4.
Diablo X Diablo.
Pretty much.
On the Nintendo Switch. Looks really good.
I'm looking forward to that game. It's just a shame because I think
so
the Armored Core series might be dead.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
I thought we saw something recently saying they were looking at something. Didn't we?
I think they say like the
I don't
series.
know.
I can't remember. I can't remember.
I didn't really like 5 though, so.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
five was a great idea, but not done that.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of really kind of going to the roots of you are a mercenary, because it really felt like it was pulling you back to like earlier games where that's what
Bring
you
me
were.
back
You were a mercenary.
to what is
Like,
it? Last
2.
Raven and
Yeah, last like
8
2,
Ball,
Last Raven.
yeah.
Yeah, just stuff like that. That was really cool, and I felt like some of the games were kind of you always played as a mercenary, but you never really felt like a mercenary, so to speak. At least that's how I never felt when I was playing the games. I could be like speaking on my ass, and people were like, I felt like a mercenary. But I just really like the idea is that you really did feel like part of a mercenary group. You were hired, you were being brought in to do a job. So hopefully we'll see. Well, I hope we'll just see Armored Core in general. Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh yeah, a lot of information at least.
Lot drops for this game. I haven't even actually been able to see it all. I've only been able to really check out some of the pictures and whatnot. But
Well,
We don't
yeah,
have
they
a
haven't
release
shown any
date for it
gameplay.
yet, do we?
I thought they did. I thought I just
No, they
saw.
haven't shown any. They've had people have talked. It was all closed door gameplay.
Yeah, it was all
okay,
press
okay.
only stuff.
Because which people have complained about because they're like, we're not seeing anything, and it's like, yeah, because CD Red's not stupid, and they remembered when they had to drop the graphics quality of Witcher 3 from the test build that people ripped them apart.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna, show it until they're ready to show it.
All right, well, there you go. That's enough.
They did confirm it is now playable from start to end. Just bugs and assets need to be finished, but
yeah. That's good to hear. That is good to hear that it's getting so close.
yeah, people think 2020 is likely the release date.
I mean, we just kind of did talk about Blizzard as well, but they did just drop an Overwatch animated short, for Diva, and they did reveal a new map in South Korea. So if you were a fan of Overwatch, well, For Honor has gotten some new gameplay modes. It's got an
also went
arcade mode
free to
it.
own on Steam.
Yes.
Yesterday, something like that.
I think it was yesterday. I just saw.
I believe so.
Yeah. Spyro, You're the Dragon.
Yeah, I'm looking.
That got delayed.
That got delayed. Yep.
Got delayed, but they did show off.
What was it? Ubisoft announced that there's not going to be an Assassin's Creed next year.
Yeah, weirdly.
And
Odyssey is going to be the first one I play.
Yes, they have 2 Assassin's Creed studios, and they have both been working on Origins and Odyssey in sequence. So they're just they're taking longer to make these games now, and that's probably why they're good.
Yeah, it's
they're
almost
better
like
now. I
putting
guess
more time into something might make it better a little bit.
Yeah. What was it? The what is it? Unity and Syndicate were not great.
No. Syndicate was okay. Unity was horrid, though.
I didn't like either one of them, but
yeah. I mean, there's a
Origins
lot.
I want to play, and then Odyssey looks real good.
Yeah.
Leaning into the more supernatural stuff, like being able to turn invisible and whatnot.
Yeah.
Teleporting.
I do like the fact if you are a fan of Ace Combat series, very niche series, but it is nice that it's continuing on. Ace Combat 7 is Skies Unknown. They are showing off stuff for that. There's a lot more to go through. You've got Shenmue 3 finally got a release date. Hunt Showdown is a new game. So now Stalker.
Was there Stalker information?
Yep, Stalker Fear the Wolves gameplay showcase on 2018. It is effectively, it's a battle royale. So if you wanted to play Stalker
never mind.
Yeah, I'm
Mal's
sorry.
Right out.
Yeah, it is Vostok's upcoming battle royale game, Fear the Wolves.
Because I think there is an actual Stalker game coming out.
It's called. I mean, it's Vostok. It is in there set in the Stalker Chernobyl. But it is their Fear the Wolves game. So truly the stock. I misstated that, and that is my fault.
Metro at least should be. It looks to be being very stalkery, so that's nice.
I've never played a Metro, but it looks interesting.
Yeah, I haven't really either, but this one looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks good. I might pick it up just to try it. There's a lot more stuff. I would definitely just say check out Gamescom if you're not doing it right now for some reason, because for information, but yeah, I mean, there's just a lot going on with Gamescom. So, is there anything you guys are kind of looking towards, like just the one game that you're really looking forward to?
Sekiro.
Yeah. If not that, Call of Cthulhu, just because I like me and Lovecraft.
I actually am really hoping that game does well.
Yeah,
I am too.
Sekiro and Kingdom Hearts are what I'm
Kingdom Hearts
looking forward to.
Yeah, I don't think Kingdom Hearts will be bad. It just takes forever to make one.
Yeah.
I assume it's because they have to spend a year between their sacrifices before the game creates itself.
I need to ceremonies. I have to count out how many people are Xehanort.
There's so many.
How many?
I'm just waiting until eventually the game does a 180 and you're playing on every character you play is just Xehanort.
It needs to be Kingdom Hearts 3 Final Mix Get Norted.
You know what? Kingdom Hearts 3, when they should release these games on PC, and then when somebody mods it, I just want it to be where they just replace everybody with Xehanort. I just want to see a mod that just replaces every character with Xehanort.
No, you want Naruto with guns. Just like GTA 5.
Jesus. Data.io, bitches.
Believe it. Give me that car.
God,
fuck him up, Sakura.
All right, I'm done. I'm done with Gamescom. Move on. Let's move on.
All right. Let's get into Tetsuo's topic. No. Tetsuo isn't next. Get out of here, Tetsuo.
I'm going back to my wall.
It's Mao. Mao's next.
What is the opposite of the Come On Down song?
Anyway, or it's the Yodeler song.
Jeez.
All right. So one of the things I mentioned was watching random anime, and this led to my topic, which is like guilty pleasures, shameful pleasures, or
never feel bad for what you enjoy.
Problematic faves. Well, I mean, or maybe just like shame by association. I don't just so
you could just say that you've watched Sword Art Online all the way. I mean, that's
I actually enjoyed that, damn it.
Ooh.
Matt, Tats, you can't really have enjoyed the second season. Or part 2 of season 1. Come on.
It was not as enjoyable as the others, but it wasn't... I can't say it wasn't bad, because it was bad, but it wasn't... It wasn't so bad that
the creepy rape stuff is when I was like, I think I'm done.
Yeah, but it was okay enough so that way I could get onto Sword Art Online too. Like, so I can't really call it bad.
That's kind of what I'm talking about.
That is
here's what happened
by society.
For me, I'll go first.
I'm saying that as I look at my is it Oscar? My Oscar playmat. It's right in front of me on my table.
So yeah, even way back in episode 2, in the transcript, I am quoted as saying, "I don't believe in guilty pleasures."
Yep.
Yes.
And I was taking it back.
I would anything I liked, I would tell people, no problem. Like, I've read Twilight, thought it was fine.
Oh damn!
I don't know, like all sorts of like female pop stars. I'm into like all sorts of things that people generally don't like to admit to. It didn't matter to me.
So what was finally the straw?
Something
that broke the
finally got me.
Okay,
straw?
Here we go.
Fate Khalid Linear Prism Ilya.
No.
Is it a Fate anime?
Yes. Now I will. This has made me decide I am not going to talk about Fate with any normal people, basically.
Wait, what is it
in
called?
general?
Fate Khalid Linear Prisma Ilya.
Ilya.
Sons of the Patriots.
It's an alternate timeline of during the Fate Stay Night time, where I guess due to some weird effects of Fate in Fate Zero, the Holy Grail Wars were ended forever, basically, and Ilya, Ilias Vale von Eisenbarn is not, being prepared to just be the Holy Grail anymore, so she can have a normal life. But there were like shards of the servants left behind who are now cards, and she becomes a magic girl, basically.
Oof.
It's a magical girl anime.
Oof.
Okay. And the season 1 is fine. Like season 1, I was like, all right. Like
it's Silverlink.
What?
It's Silverlink.
I don't know who or the people.
Or this is the movie version. I guess.
No.
There's
the
a
original
movie
one.
of it.
Yeah, there's 4 seasons and a movie. Only the first 3 seasons are dubbed. I did not make it through season 2.
Tapped out.
Yep. What is it? Yeah, it's Silverlink is the studio. I actually don't know who they are by name.
I'll actually mention them for my answer.
All right. So yeah, season 1, like the first episode, there's like a bath scene with her, and like this seems unnecessary, but she gets seen naked by the guy she likes. Ha ha ha.
Oh my god. It's deja vu.
Oof. Yeah. I mean, yeah, okay. You could see that coming. But the rest of the season's like fine. It's like a magical I like Fate because like Fate Zero is great. The anime Fate Zero. And I haven't played the games, which are also kind of weird.
I have.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've read the visual novels.
Right. Yeah, the
correctly,
original
sir.
visual novels. There are also RPGs and an action game or action RPGs. And there's a mobile game which I'm on and off again for sort of similar reasons. But season 2 of this is so fan servy and like I can't do it. Like it's just so much fan service, and they're 5th graders.
I thought the day that Mao would end up having to eat those words at some point, I thought like I was like, that's some strong conviction for Mao. I can respect that. And I thought this day would be a lot funnier, but hearing the pain in your voice now, I can just feel sorrow for you.
Because I like some of the Fate series stuff, but then other parts are just weird and.
Yeah. Well, it's weird when one season is one way and then it like segues a little bit.
Shift, bro.
And then I've seen people talk about it too, and they're like, yeah, season 1's fine. Season 2's all lowly fan service. So if that's not your thing, just skip it and go to 3. And I was like, where was that when I needed it? Because 3, I guess stops that. But I don't know if I could continue because also there's like really graphic kissing between like 2 of them, and
wow.
I have
of course
I've
there's
seen some of the
answers
gifs
because like reasons but it's like stupid Kojima reasons of why Quiet's naked, like from Metal Gear Solid 5 or whatever. It's there's no actual reason, you just wanted to see this happen.
The gifs, people have made gifs of it. You can easily find it, but that is dude, like when I first saw a GIF of it, I was like, "Is this from like a hentai or something?"
Right.
That is how intense it gets.
Yeah, and then there's like a scene where they're like, "Oh, we wanted some privacy to talk, so we're in this open bath." It's like you're in a mansion. There are plenty of rooms you could just go talk in privately.
Yeah.
Can I just talk to you real quick in this other room right here?
Right. No, we're just all in the bath naked because we wanted to draw little naked 5th graders.
It's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
A little bit weird. Yeah. Ooh. I have not seen it, which I am thankful for.
But and then like also Fate is just like randomly making skimpily dressed versions of characters from history in general. And also turning some of them into females and then dressing them weirdly.
I hate that so much. They ruined Nobunaga.
Right.
I'm so upset. So upset by that.
And then Attila and King Arthur are all females now, and
I don't understand why. It would have been so cool.
I don't know because there are other female servant classes they create, like who are just like queens and female warriors and stuff.
I mean, like that's fine, but I just don't understand like.
I don't know why they made these particular ones female.
I don't know, for more lolly fan service.
Japan's a weird place, man.
It's a rough world.
So, do you guys have anything like that? Has that ever happened to you?
Okay,
maybe not quite to that level.
I will go first on this one because I actually was able to think of something because I originally thought like this is never because I'm so picky with my time that if I really don't like something, if something even seems completely off, I'm just getting rid of it. It's done.
Right.
I don't have to bother with it. But I will say it's not so much a guilty pleasure, but it is something that
guilty pleasure isn't exactly what I was going for. I just didn't know.
The third one,
meant.
like essentially what it comes down to is that this is something that I catch myself doing every now and then, and there's no purpose to it. I really hate it, but I end up doing it anyway. I will sometimes sit there and watch videos of gameplay for games I don't even care about, but it has some relation to something that I might like. Like, for instance, Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Lords of Shadow 2. Never played the game. Do not even like the series. But just the other day, just a couple days ago, I clicked on watching a boss battle between the toy maker. I don't know why. I don't know why I do that, but that's what I end up doing. I'll burn hours away at this. And I lapsed. I lapsed so hard. I was an alcoholic who had a drink that I shouldn't have had. I was clean. I was sober for years. And then I fell apart. And that was what happened. That's really the closest thing I can get to. The closest thing I can get to it for it, unfortunately. But yeah, no, that's the one thing that I just like. To me, is like I guess the closest thing I can get to a guilty pleasure or a shameful pleasure, so to speak. But that is definitely something that
yeah.
Tats, rail against me how guilty pleasures don't exist before I go.
So I don't know. Like I'm kind of in the same boat where it's like I don't like. There's times there's like I probably like either it's like I enjoyed this even though I know that everybody else doesn't, and so it's more okay for me. But then like sometimes there are things where I'm just like, why is that a thing?
You can say New Gundam Breaker. It's fine.
Actually,
it's already like $20.
That was actually a disappointment and has already been given back to GameStop. So that one is a curse upon mankind, and
there's no guilty pleasure in that one. That was just a curse.
There's no pleasure there at all.
Oh, gotcha.
You're just guilty you just feel guilty about buying it.
It's just shame.
The very fact that I gave money for that game is the.
I traded in other games and I bought it for full price. There's the guilty aspect. No, actually, I think I pre-ordered it technically, so there's the guilty part. But
that's the guilty part.
There it is.
Wow.
No, kind of related to Mao's one that I really enjoyed until it kind of got into it. And it got weirdly lowly all of a sudden was Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Yeah.
That was weird anime.
It was really enjoyable.
People really love it.
It is really good, except for any time that involves the 500-year-old dragon that looks like a 5-year-old. Because then it gets weird. And you're just like, why did, like, really? Like, can we just fast forward and get to another part, please? Or the other dragon that's with the small boy. Like
I watched that
whole stuff.
Yeah. I watched that whole thing through, and I gotta say, like, it was okay. I do not get the. There was a lot of people love it. I thought it was okay. It didn't do anything spectacular.
It was comical. Yeah, there wasn't anything that it stood out. It was just really like the spots when it wasn't weird. It was just funny in the right way that made my wife and I enjoy it enough to keep watching through it. No, one that I thoroughly enjoy, video game wise, that I don't care if anybody judges me on. People probably do. Is the Lego games.
Dude, the Lego games are fun.
I was gonna say the Lego games
I think
are
most
generally.
people think those are good.
Yeah, I think most people love those games.
I feel like that's true, but then like
I don't ever want to pay full price for one, but
I always get them through a GameFly, so.
I have a friend who quite literally loves those series, that game series in general. He even rebought some of them versions. He loves those games.
Yeah, everyone that's come out so far. Once I started playing them, I platinumed them and got all the DLC and all that. So I don't know. Like I feel like not everybody, like a lot of people do enjoy them, but I feel like it's one of those ones that there's people that judge you because you're playing a Lego game. Really, I don't know. Maybe that's not so much a thing, but.
All right,
it's all about if you feel the shame, Tits.
But I don't feel shame. But it's what I think. I feel like somebody.
Okay, like, if you feel judged.
If you feel judged, yeah.
I feel like there's somebody out there who is doing the judging, but not that I feel judged. If that makes sense, like
judged pleasures, whether judged pleasures. We can give you that category. We'll give you the title of like doesn't feel shamed, but knows that somebody's potentially judging.
Yep.
I mean, some people might feel, a shameful pleasure might be ruining Kenshin.
Yeah, that would also be a shame. I could see somebody saying that, but I don't feel any shame for it whatsoever.
Because of the author.
Yeah, I can definitely separate the author from
artist and the work.
Yep, separate the artist and the work. With the person who makes it might have a great idea, might also make a really bad choice in life.
Yeah. I'm going to put Lily on spot here. I'm going to call her out. She ain't even here.
She's not here to defend herself, so take your shots.
Get that JoJo crap out here. No. I actually like JoJo, so whatever. And that's not a guilty pleasure at all. Everyone loves JoJo.
Yeah.
But,
I hate JoJo.
For games, maybe just like these elements, but I mean, it's more like not ubiquitous isn't the word I'm looking for. I guess more accepted to an extent. Like I love anything with like waifu elements in the games, so like that's like a really guilty pleasure of mine. Like whereas normies, ribbit normies,
you're not gonna just talk with random people about your waifu.
Oh yeah. I love this Rising Force game because it's got waifus in it. That's why I got it, man. But like anything with like waifu stuff in it, like will at least get my attention and like have me look into a game and see if people are like it's halfway decent. Then there you go. Like that's how I got into the Rune Factory games. They're like I'm like it's Harvest Moon. I was like I like Harvest Moon, but and it's like with waifus, and I went okay, here we go.
How are you not playing all the gacha games that exist just to sell people waifus?
Yeah, man.
Because there's not enough in the gacha games.
No. I think what it is though. But I think I know what it is. Obs isn't so much interested in just like the idea that there's a waifu in the game. Yeah. Obs specifically likes the ideas that you can waifu the waifu.
Or husbando, that's what you're
Or husbando, yeah.
Sometimes I husbando too. I wrote a I exposed this guilty pleasure at one point in my collegiate career. I was taking a class called Mass Comm Perspectives, and we had to do like a big presentation. And I was talking about like basically like a very like dull topic, like video games and their effects on people and stuff, like something that's been done 1,000 times. But I basically played the I can't remember the name of the game series, but it's where you're the girl. It's the reverse harem. Oh, so you're the girl and it's the guys, and it's the not the Sekihote, the Shinsengumi, where you romance the members of the Shinsengumi, and I basically use that as my like here's how like because I found a study about romance games and like Chinese women and how it like affected their perception of actual relationships. So I basically gave my presentation on that, and I was like, so I played one. And here we go. And I was a little girl, and there was like samurai vampires and stuff that I was romancing. So that was interesting. Everybody's looking at me. There was one guy who gave a report on hikikomoris, and he was like the one guy in the audience.
He was only guy who was like,
he was like, I got you, bro.
I want to just imagine when the moment you started revealing what this game was, he was at least in the back of the crowd, just giving you a solid nod of respect.
GIF.
Yeah. Oh. He fell out of his chair.
Oh,
yeah. So that like they're more common now. that's why I didn't quite want to use the word ubiquitous, but like even Assassin's Creed is getting waifu quote stuff in it now. But
is it?
Oh well,
it's getting like romance stuff, but
that's true.
I just use waifus as like a broad term for like I love romance in games, but and anytime you can like, and when there's like different people you can choose, because I think it adds like replayability in some instances too. Yeah. Or you can just look it up on YouTube if you don't want to sit there and replay the whole game. But like even like the Mass Effect games, those probably like normalized it more, I think.
Oh yeah,
than anything.
Yeah,
like Mass Effect
absolutely normalized that. The idea of like actually getting to a romantic relationship with somebody and building that relationship up.
Just BioWare, like I mean, even
KOTOR and stuff.
Yeah,
yep.
But so yeah, that in games. I like to really rail on isekai stuff and light novels in general, but there's only one. I haven't read all the light novels, granted. I've only read like I think 3 volumes. I just kind of got sidetracked on it. There's a series that came out around the time of Asterisk War, which is a very lampooned A1 Pictures production from...
I enjoyed Asterisk War.
2015. You would. No. I'm just kidding.
It was good, damn it.
One of my favorite anime YouTubers named Digibro, he basically did a 12-part series. I think like each part is longer than an episode of Asterisk War, talking about why Asterisk War is bad. But then he...
Oh, I think I did.
It's called The Asterisk War Sucks. And it has it's like 15 parts. It's for a 12-episode anime. But towards the end of it, there was an anime that came out at the same time. It was a Silverlink anime called Rakudai Kishi no Kabari, or Chivalry of the Failed Knight. And it's basically the exact same anime beat for beat, but done better. It's a standard like 5 out of 10 light novel thing, but it does some interesting stuff. And it kind of gets associated with Asterisk War, which is a very much like hated in the anime community show, in the vein of like Era manga from like a year ago, Era manga Sensei, or it's just like a vapid, like rushed out like thing and like super generic. But this one actually does cool stuff, like it doesn't drag out the romance. The main character and the main heroine hook up in like the 3rd episode, and they're just together, so you don't have to deal with stupid harem hijinks and who will he get with or any of that stuff. It's the whole like we're at a school for magical people that have powers, but he's like, his whole thing is like he has no magical ability. He's just really good. I mean, that's a very generic and overdone trope. He's just like very skilled and practices a lot and stuff. But it does stuff well. And I just found it very entertaining. And it often gets shat on too, just because it came out the same time as Asterisk War. And it basically followed the same beats. Like literally like they had like the pool episode were the same episodes. Like they both start with them walking in on the girl scantily clad at like the beginning of the series. They're both like pink-haired tsundere main characters. The main guy is kind of a light novel guy, but I enjoyed it for some reason. I think it's because I watched like the analysis and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot, and I actually end up enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. And I started reading light novels. I was like, these aren't that bad. And light novels often get shat on, but they're kind of like the new light novels are now like more what's getting adapted into anime, whereas it used to be manga a lot more commonly.
Yeah. Seeing a lot with light novels.
Light novels with, run-on sentence names.
Yeah, here's something else that I'm excited for that will be a guilty pleasure. I don't know if they're going to go this dark in the anime adaptation, but Goblin Slayer. Do you know what Goblin Slayer is?
Yes, I dropped it.
I have never heard of it.
It's yeah.
Is this a guy that only kills goblins?
Yes. It's one of those generic it's like basically playing the generic fantasy anime trope straight, kind of, where it's like we're like newbie adventurer, daring do-gooder guys. We're gonna go out here and do stuff, and the main character heroine's like a priestess, and her party gets like brutally murdered and worse in like the first chapter because they're just not prepared for goblins. And he's like a badass. They're doing an anime adaptation of it, and the animation actually looks good. But I haven't read a lot of it, but it could be interesting, and I can see that blowing up. But it's very dark. So it goes dark places. I'll say that much.
Jeez.
But so yeah, I would say that's mine. If anything, I very rarely actually like pick stuff up and like don't finish it or feel like skipping stuff. Other SAO obviously, but like we said earlier, but still.
Yeah, I mean, I still like. Again, it's like I like some of the Fate universe, and then I just have problems with other bits of it.
Yeah.
Like, Fate Apocrypha is pretty cool, but Jack the Ripper looks like she's 10 in a bikini.
I haven't seen it, so...
It's like, everything else seems pretty rad.
I haven't watched any of the Fate anime. I've only read the first visual novel, so... And that was a while ago. Green Best Girl.
Ooh. Ooh, man.
Alright.
The waifu wars begin again.
They never end, meta.
That's all what Fate is really about.
Yeah.
It's the waifu wars.
We know this. Alright, Tetsuo. Yeah. It's finally your turn.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm 100. No, it's my turn now. No, it's your turn.
No.
No, it's all you, bud.
No, so I was talking with a buddy of mine about different RPGs and how some of the games are set up in the rule structures. I mean, it's kind of, whenever you're discussing RPGs in general. But I thought it was interesting. We noted how, like, some systems like Pathfinder, D&D, most of their splat books will be more classes, more items, more spells. Yeah, sometimes you get new setting areas, but it's kind of like, here's a new setting, so that way we can give you more spells, more items, more races. Right? Like, but other games like Fate, and I think it's been pretty clear how much of a Fate fan I am, a lot of their books are totally setting new books that introduce new mechanics, not just like new classes, but like straight up full-on mechanics. And we were just kind of discussing how interesting that was to us, how like some go one way, some go the other. And I was just curious for you guys, if you guys thought that there was anything that particularly like how to word this.
What was your essay question from earlier?
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't remember how I freaking worded it. We were discussing our topics. I worded something, and Bob said it sounded like an essay question. No, but
discuss the merits of setting-based mechanics in tabletop RPG. No.
Is that how I said it?
Or why did Tets have to die?
Oh yeah, why did Tets have to die? That's actually
the question.
My true subject.
That's the true topic today.
No, but yeah, like if you guys think that there is any merit in having mechanics based off of the setting itself, or if you think that it is better to just use setting as a reason to build more on giving more options. Like should setting be a doorway for more options, or should it have its own mechanics? And is it always true one way or the other? Or is sometimes it better to go one way or the other?
Ooh, that's actually a good question.
Put on your game design glasses.
Yeah, right. Hold on, let me just.
Yeah, this is very much a game design question.
Game design question. I was like, yep, just gonna. Yep. Okay. And all right, game design glasses are gone.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I had to give like an example, because I'm not sure I fully understand your classification. But
yeah, I may be discussing something that's mostly in my head.
If I would have to say the way I go, I would lean more towards the setting isn't like the setting can be utilized I guess like for at least the way you're putting it in the question, at least with options given, I would say that I prefer the setting kind of just being there to help give mechanics for a game. Though I don't even think you really need a setting for that to do that.
Right. So I guess maybe to give a better example, kind of where my thought process is, in the case of D&D, we have like books for Eberron, we have books for Forgotten Realms, which introduce these new areas, but they kind of introduce, Warforged, or here are more things for Drow to do, or et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Whereas with Fate, we have things like Mecha versus Kaiju, which totally bolts on new stuff to Fate, or Tianxia, which bolts on new stuff to Fate, just because you're now playing Wushu or Mecha,
Okay, I kind of see what you're saying. And that's really hard. I almost don't know if it's in.
Yeah. So Fate is already fairly like light.
Yeah.
So adding more onto it isn't going to like overwhelm someone as much. So that's probably why it would be more common. Even Pathfinder rarely will do like a book devoted to running an entire campaign in water and all the mechanics that, have that. If, here is everything you need to just be completely underwater in a game.
Right.
Yeah.
Which add a lot of, mechanics in all shapes and sizes, classes, races, and other mechanics outside of those.
I think generally, if you're going to do that kind of book, I mean, it's an interesting way to do a book. I think it's just one of the approaches. If I were to make I guess in my eye, I would probably prefer I would generally prefer a game that's more focused about giving new mechanics, new toys to play with, so to speak, than worrying so much about the world and how to make you possible for you to do something in a setting or a world. Because if you're an event, if your GM is being a good GM, they'll provide you what you need, even if there's no book for it. So I'd rather get a book that's more of just going to like essentially spot weld on a lot more things that I can play with, and if it happens to work in that environment, that's sweet. If not, that's fine too. But I'd rather just have more toys to play with, as opposed to a book that explains to me like, here's all these cool toys that you can specifically do in space or underwater or under the earth or stuff like that. That wouldn't be as interesting to me because it's really just focused on that area. And if you want to make like a theme set of books around it, that's not too bad. But you are spending like a lot of money to make theme books to work under the idea that you're going to be going into this kind of area. So here's all the stuff that you could do in one. Not that it's a bad idea, but if I had to choose, I would take one that's just like, here's these cool new classes, here's some cool new treasures, here's new abilities and choices and options you can take to build your characters, both new and old, and let's roll with that. That's something that'd be far more interesting to me. So I would definitely say less creating a book that adds like an environment and rules for that environment, and more a book that just uses what's currently there, gives you tons of more toys to play with, and then if you want, you can come up with ideas to play in that new environment.
Okay, makes sense.
I'd like both. Give me both.
Give me the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's weird because I think Fate does it the best I've seen with like new setting stuff and new mechanics squished into books. That's just by necessity more than anything. I think. Like they don't even necessarily have to do like new mechanics, but then if you just get like a new setting for Fate, there's no new mechanics, you probably feel like you're not getting a lot.
Right.
You're just reading about someone's setting they made up.
Just a fluff book.
Yeah, exactly. But
not.
Well, like in the case of Tianxia and Mecha versus Kaiju, which I mentioned earlier, they just kind of bring Tianxia brings in the wushu aspect, the martial arts. But theoretically, you could divorce all of the rest of it from the book, and this is just the book of martial arts, and then it just becomes character options, right? It's not really necessarily mechanics. Mecha versus Kaiju, same thing with robots.
Actually, every Pathfinder splat book is themed or has its own theme.
Right.
And that you could also divorce from the fluff.
Right.
I mean, I think if you really take any book, let's just use because it's a good example, a very lore dense, world dense game, L5R. You could still divorce like all the schools and the clans and whatnot from the game itself and to make your own thing. You don't have to use.
Well, I like what L5R tries to do with alternate universe stuff, and they'll give you like a new school or a new like path. I just wish they gave you a little bit more.
Yeah, they a lot of their books, unfortunately,
advantages.
A lot of their books, and for the 4th edition,
4E books were
This is like a personal pet peeve for me. I love the game, but again, there's a lot of things I don't like about it. A lot of the books from 4th edition were almost exclusively
the element books.
Yeah, element books were a big sin of this too. The Emerald Empire is literally a book about the fucking Empire.
Though it is one of my more favorite books.
It is still, it is still one of my more favorite books. Absolutely.
Emerald Empire is fine.
I think it's a great book for what it is, but it's in this example,
all of the fluff.
Yeah, there you go.
Weirdly enough, the Enemies of Rokugan book gives you more different character options than like any other splat book in the game.
Yes, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. This game is great for building the world it's in, but when you get the books for options to play with, you are decidingly small in the amount of choices you can make. It's actually very frustrating on an immense scale at times. If you were to pick up, and not to pick on the Kakita Bushi, but here I go. If you were to pick up a Kakita Bushi, there are only 2 alternate paths you can take with them. That kind of sucks. That like there's only 2 option choices you can take with them that are specifically
multiple schools, my man.
Yeah, right. Just get a new school. There you go. Problem solved.
Buy Yushi, and now I'm super fast.
So I mean, that's kind of thing, and like they had, I don't know, they had a string of, I want to say more than. I have to say there's probably about 12 to 15, anywhere from 10 to 18 books in the 4th edition, and there is very little actual mechanical content, toys to play with, and I that goes into the very exact opposite. Love the game, love the world, I love what they're trying to do with it, and there's good books. Emerald Empire, wonderful book.
Hey, the Doji Iron Warriors have 7.
Oh, I know, right? It's okay, they're good.
Crane family, obviously. It's the
obviously best Crane family, yeah. Yeah, it's that's what it is, but that would be the exact opposite of what I.
Which is weird because first edition L5R had all kinds of weird, like it had different skills you could take that would do the same thing but work slightly differently. Like there was investigation for like the lower class. It was called Kuanai, I believe, where you could like get more different kinds of information. It was weird. You got all kinds of weird different character options in first edition, and it had a lot more splat books. Something they should have done in 4th edition. I probably said this on the podcast before. I wish they would have done clan books like they did in first edition for 4th edition, where they could have just took all the lore, because if you want to have all the L5R books, at a certain point later on, like years after 4th edition was out, it became increasingly hard to get them because they just became so expensive because they went out of print. Like the 4th edition book, I think, is like $150 or something right now to get a hold of one. But I mean, so they're expensive books, hard books to get a hold of, and they have different mechanics spread throughout all of them. What they could have done, should have done, in my opinion, was like compress some of the lore, take all of like the alternate paths and like advanced schools and kata and stuff that clan has access to, put them in a clan book. Like there's something like RPGs from the 90s and early 2000s did a lot, like the White Wolf games and stuff. Like your faction would have a book, because there's people always want to play like the crab guy every time, like or the scorpion, and the scorpion player can buy the scorpion book and have all the scorpion lore, the scorpion advantages and disads and schools and stuff like that all in one go-to place. They could have sold those for $40, and I would have bought every single one of those. That would have been awesome. And they could have put more new stuff in it, and I wish that was something they would have done, but
that would have been really cool. I would have loved, actually, I think, like almost going off of what you said, I would have loved if they made a book just like Way of the Crane or Way of the Dragon, stuff like that, like a Way of series book where it was literally
that's what
just
they did in first edition.
where it was all just mechanical though, just all mechanical stuff. It wasn't about fluffing the world. It wasn't about adding anything to the clan. It was like, this is the way of the book. You are reading the book that has like all their techniques and abilities for this clan just laid out, and then all this new stuff added in as well. That would have been a really cool series set of books, because then you've been like, if you want to look at everything from the clan that you were playing under, here's your book. Bam, done. That would have been a really cool idea.
Ultimately, for me, I want as many character options as I can make. Forget. That's what I want in every game I play. The more, the better.
I agree with that. I love character options.
It's a very popular thought process, or not thought process, position to take.
As far as like when something gets a setting book, it ultimately comes down to, you know, if the demand's there for it, because you could make a setting book for anything, but is it going to sell, or does someone have, like in the case of Final Fantasy D20, does someone have, you know, the drive to do it?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, Final Fantasy Fate, was it Fate 14? Also as a player made.
Yep, player made variation on the Fate system for Final Fantasy 14.
I don't know, like, I like options. I think part of the reason why I am not as keen on D&D and Pathfinder is sometimes it feels like there's too many options. And sometimes I like just having big mechanical things that everybody has access to just automatically baked in for a new book.
I can understand that.
Which again, so I know talking with those other two splats, but then you going on to two other for Fate, Atomic Robo and Gods and Monsters. Those are two other Fate settings. In Atomic Robo, they introduced this idea called brainstorming, which allows players to make rolls together to try to come up with conclusions and ideas and create advantages and stuff, kind of as a bigger and better helping each other mechanic type deal, which is really cool. And then Gods and Monsters, you play literal gods that gets their power from people's worship. So they have this whole worship mechanic that starts going in there. And if you use too much power, you'll become a monster and the other gods will start attacking you and all this stuff. So I guess for me, I kind of like when you make these big sweeping mechanical bolted on additions as opposed to more character options. I think that's more kind of where I was.
I mean, that's one way to definitely do it. I can see that being
But I think both are good. I think both are definitely good to have.
There you go. Well, I stand by my answer. I love toys to play with. New abilities. I love new magic items. I love it all so much. I think it just helps spice up a game, because I mean, with any jump on here real fast. With any setting, you can tell a great story. Okay, and sure, you could argue that you can make any magical item, but it's really nice to have a book of a category. Not in Fatal.
We're just gonna go right past that.
Yeah, I'm gonna ignore that right now.
If you wanted to have talked about it, you should have talked about that last subject. Obs.
Yeah, guilty pleasures, totally. Fatal. I've made so many Fatal characters. It's weird. I'm interested in the design process because it seems like I wonder how people try to like fight the urge to make stuff more tied to the setting mechanically, because a lot of people don't. Obviously, it makes sense, like marketing wise. You want people to buy your stuff so they can play with these mechanics in any game and stuff. But I wonder if like how much of a, I don't even want to say temptation because that implies that it's like forbidden or something or verboten, but they really want to like tie the mechanics and the setting together, like just from a design philosophy space. I wonder, like I can't think of a real example of that where it's like you literally cannot pull this from this setting and put it in any of the generic. Like I'm trying to think of like a D&D example. I can't think of one.
I don't think D&D. Well, D&D is gonna be super hard because D&D is designed specifically around being setting neutral. That's why they choose the names they choose and the options they choose, because you could put them in any setting that you want. I
mean, I think if you work hard enough, you can reflavor anything.
Yeah. Well, and Actually, that was going to be my next point. Is I think that's sometimes too where it comes down to is that do you say, yeah, you could flavor this to do anything you want, or do you put out a book to help people so that way the players and the GM don't have to work as much?
Right. Yeah.
And again, I think that's a design standpoint, for your particular team, one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, tons of people don't want to actually, put in all that work because, there's balance issues and whatnot that they would have to.
Yeah.
I know some people love playing only or running only modules because it's easier to do it. Somebody's already made it up, and having all the material in one place is just I don't have to worry about anything. Therefore, it's easier to run. Mentality.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Sometimes you just don't want to make up everything. Sometimes you just want somebody like, hey, here's all it is.
As you say, you can be terrified of breaking the balance because it's very easy to break balance once you start home ruling.
God knows I have run into this so much while working on our stuff. Both homebrew things. Just
flying carpets.
Yeah.
Stunning stuff.
Stunning everything.
Flying around. Casting earthquake. Stunning everybody. Doing like 8k damage.
Most people don't really want to balance things, and AEG didn't either.
I will agree there. AEG was like,
damn, Mao.
Fun? Wow.
Damn.
You're not wrong though. That is unfortunately something coming from AEG. Woof. That's
Get
for true.
Zyngas in.
A sassy Mao.
All right.
Drop.
Yeah, we'll let Mao have his mic drop there. Let's get on to my topic. I don't know how long it'll go because I think only Mao and I have any experience with this, but I've been
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne, totally. So, I want to talk about how much I wanted Bloodborne too. About 2 weeks ago, I started, as you know, felt like brave and loyal listeners of this podcast, I am a big fan of shonen manga and anime. And I have recently picked up one that's been doing pretty well and is fairly
broke
popular.
You down.
Yeah, I finally started reading it. I've been meaning to start it for a while. I just never got around to it. Just like Haikyuu, which I still haven't started watching. I want to watch the anime of that, though. But Dr. Stone, which is great. I've really been enjoying it. It's written by Inagaki Riichiro, who is the author of Ashtel 21, which I think Mao is a fan of.
Oh yeah, one of my favorites.
And Boichi is the illustrator. He was the mangaka for Sunken Rock.
Yep.
But it has amazing art.
Oh yeah.
That's probably like one of the best things about Dr. Stone. It's like an interesting take on shonen because it's not a traditional action battle manga. I mean, you'll see non-traditional battle manga in Shounen Jump a lot. This is a Shounen Jump manga, by the way. But this one does it a little differently. It's weird. It's just more kind of sci-fi. So yeah, heavy science fiction. I'm on chapter 46. I think there's like 60-something chapters now, 70-something. But basically...
70.
Yeah, 70. So basically, to give like a brief synopsis of what the manga is about, I want to put in quotes here, main character, Taju, is confessing to a girl this girl he likes, and basically right before he's about to get up the gumption and tell her he loves her and he wants to go out with her, everybody in the world instantly turns into stone. And 3,000 years go by, and he manages to break free from his petrification. He runs into one of his friends, whose name's Senku, who was basically like a nerdy scientist kid back before they all got turned to stone. And they're
the smartest person in existence.
Exactly, and they basically resolved to free Taju's crush, whose name is Yuzuria, I think, something along those lines. They want to break her out of her stone, so they basically start trying to find out ways to free people from petrification. How are we going to do this? Senku, of course, knows that he can mix up this chemical, so a lot of the early part of the manga is gathering these things they need to break people out of stone. They end up running into, I think it's a pack of lions or something. They get attacked by, and they have to run. And they basically stumble across this guy they had heard about or knew before they were petrified. His name's Tsukasa.
The strongest high schooler in the
Yeah, the strongest high schooler, and he's a badass. So they're like, all right, we gotta unpetrify him and get him out of here, and he'll protect us from the lions. So they do it. He beats up the lions. But Tsukasa is not a good person at all. He starts, like, murdering people who are petrified.
Well, yeah, he starts breaking the statues, which means they can't be freed.
Yep, and effectively
he wants to create a kingdom without science.
Yeah, a kingdom without science and technology, which he views as evil. He's very much of might makes right. Like, I want strong people who are ignorant but loyal to me, and we'll make a strong country. Exactly. This contrasts with Senku, who is all about
science.
Science. He wants to basically bring humanity back to where it was before everything went to shit. And something interesting that the manga does is, I think this was because of the editors, probably. It completely Taiju, and they end up unpetrifying Yuzuriha, and basically the main character Taiju and her go off.
Ship them away.
And they're gone. They're gone. They get on the bus and they go off.
Yep.
And the manga completely shifts tone and becomes about Senku. And Senku's basically going to start a new kingdom, the Science Kingdom. And he's got to fight off Tsukasa when Tsukasa eventually comes.
It's a lot of, like, trying to develop different technologies using what he can just gather.
Yeah.
And in ridiculous ways, but, like, not like, I don't know. There's some ridiculousness to it, but all the, like, science is sound.
Yeah, it does really interesting explanations of the science and stuff. There'll literally be like a half a chapter dedicated to, like, this is how, like, they have to make an electricity generator. So he's like, this is how this is going to work. And he basically, like, ends up running into, like, a small group of people in a little village or whatever. And he's like, I'm going to make this my science kingdom, but I got to, like, convince these, what are essentially primitives, like, that I'm not a sorcerer.
You find out these are people who were not just, also turned to stone, but have been. So, yeah, there's like, some mystery behind that. Like, but they have no understanding of technology
at all. They think it's sorcery. He runs into another guy who calls himself a sorcerer too. They have like a little sorcerer duel. Basically where they have a science off.
Yeah, like different chemical reactions basically.
Yeah, he has I think he has some kind of like sulfur or something that he's throwing in fire and making it pop.
He's collected a bunch of different like
stones and stuff. And so basically like Senku beats him in their little duel, and he's basically trying to, like, get the people on his side in his science kingdom. And he does stuff like invents ramen again to, like, get like, some of the people in. There's, like, a really old man who's, like, an artisan. He's like, we got to build, like, a smithy and make iron. So there'll be, like, a chapter where they have to, like, basically, he figures out or finds rocks that are magnetized, and he uses them to collect iron. They're like, we can use these to make stronger weapons. So he gets, like, the warrior guys on his side by, like, making them more sturdy weapons and stuff. There's one character who can't see, then he, like, gives her glasses. They start to make glass. They basically start to, like, super build up, like, this society, kind of. It's really, there's no action, literally, like, to the point that there's, like, a little small tournament arc, kind of, but it was, like, 2 chapters.
Yeah,
it wasn't even really an arc.
There's not like chapters of fighting.
Yeah, which is cool, and it's interesting to see. Like, it's basically completely about like science and human evolution, and it's really interesting. And at first, I was kind of like, and then when they ditch Taiju and stuff, it gets really good after that.
An interesting take because he was definitely set up as the main character.
Yeah, and they just completely are like. He's basically like, I don't remember what exactly he tells them. He's like, you guys kind of like go off and watch them or something. Watch Tsukasa's empire for me. But he can't know that I'm alive or that you guys are alive. Because I think he like tries to assassinate them or something, or he thinks they're dead. or at least Senku's dead. I think he thinks at least Senku's dead, and that's who he's worried about because he knows Senku's the smartest person. He's only his mind can rival his like just raw physical power.
Right.
So that's really cool. It's not like as popular as MHA and stuff like that over here, but it's apparently really popular in Japan. I was watching. There's a YouTuber named Super Eye Patch Wolf. He basically did like a State of Shounen Jump in 2018 video, and he was basically comparing and contrasting like the table of contents is not the exact same as like the rankings they use. For those who don't know, like
yeah, I've heard some myths and stuff about that, like the death slot and whatnot.
Exactly. He was just comparing and contrasting that to the rankings and like general success. He said it's like somewhat an indicator, but it's not like a hard one because it's basically up to like the editor of the magazine and stuff, and he'll like randomly put like if something has like a new season, like usually of an anime, it'll usually get like towards the top of the magazine and stuff like that. But for the first 6 months of 2018, Dr. Stone had the third highest ranking table of contents placing on average, behind Promised Neverland, which is really big in Japan and is about to get an anime, and One Piece.
Oh, I didn't realize that about Promised Neverland.
Yeah, I think it's early next year is when its first season of anime is coming out, but that's really big over there. And what's the other one? I haven't read any of it. It's the Demon Hunter.
The Demon Hunter?
God, what's it called? Something no something.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. That's like really
Shokugeki no Soma.
Exactly. But no, it's really popular over there, and I think Dr. Stone will eventually get an anime adaptation just because it's so popular, and it'll be cool to see where like what they do, who gets it. It's just a really cool, interesting take on shonen, and it's different. Like I haven't really seen a science like we've seen multiple cooking manga and Shounen Jump. We've seen like rom-coms, gag stuff, sports manga, but I can't think of another like science battle like it's all about building society like that. It still has like its shonen tropes, and it's definitely is a like shonen. Like, the way the main character acts and, like, some of his mannerisms and stuff. Like, he is always picking his ear. Shonen characters always, like, main characters always have, like, a weird tick or something like that. And just the designs. But, man, the art's really good. The story's cool. Just the way the arcs are structured about how it's like, this time I have to win over this part of the kingdom. Now I have to make iron weapons so we can get katanas. And now I have to cure this girl with penicillin so we can have like modern medicine and stuff. And it's just really cool the way like their arcs are structured around the conflicts are about like more low key, not like I have to beat the villain of the week or whatever. The villain of the week is coming up with a cure for I can't remember what the priestess girl had or sickness, but discovering penicillin or gathering this iron ore and stuff, and all the characters are quirky and funny, and I enjoy the humor of it. So I've been enjoying it a lot.
I quite like it.
I can't wait to get caught up on it and add it to my.
It has surpassed Shokugeki no Soma in my read list order or whatever, like or the way whenever the new chapters come out, I do it from least favorite to most favorite. So now I read Shokugeki no Soma before I read Dr. Stone.
Which all ones do you read from Shounen Jump, Mel?
I've cut down on my manga consumption by orders of magnitude. So now I pretty much like on the weekly drop, I think it's just Shokugeki no Soma, Dr. Stone, and My Hero.
Yeah.
Or on the same day, but throughout the week, I will also read The Promised Neverland and Seven Deadly Sins.
I was surprised. I mean, I thought Promised Neverland. We can talk about that for a little bit too. I thought that it would be way bigger over here than it would in Japan. I didn't know it was so big in Japan.
I didn't know either, but
I mean, it makes sense because it's getting an anime
too.
Yeah. I mean, there's just been a bunch of like stuff come out lately that's getting big from last year. After we had a bunch of stuff drop off, like Robot X Laser Beam got canceled.
Yep.
Hungry Mary.
Yep.
U29 or U19 was one.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked into what the new stuff is.
Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. That's the what I was thinking of. It's getting an anime too. I haven't read any of that or know anything about it.
That's not even...
It's apparently really big in Japan too.
Is it off? Like, oh, wait. Yeah, that's not even... I'm not even seeing that in the list of Shounen Jump. Are you sure it's a Shounen Jump anime? No. Oh, there it is. It's... I don't know why I can see it. I see. It's in this week's ranking, it's yeah, just after Boku no Hero, at least, or just after Dr. Stone, but Dr. Stone's getting a color page this week, so I don't know how that... I think that affects the rankings weird, so. Yeah. Oh yeah, last week's ranking had Dr. Stone at number 1, basically, after the lead color page, which is Gintama, which is ending, I believe, soon. I think, I can't remember. Yeah, maybe I can't remember. Oh yeah, will reportedly end in a few chapters. Also, these rankings are weeks behind, so they're not like the previous week. But yeah. So yeah, Gintama. Yeah. I mean, it's no One Piece. Yeah, just had its 21st anniversary. Yeah, I don't know how quickly they would speed through it. Like, depends on the anime. Like, you wouldn't want it to have a typical shonen anime, I guess. You don't want Peridot to pick it up. Yeah, I dropped that a while ago. And Haikyuu. Haikyuu, or at least as the manga, has a lot of like matches with not the main characters or the main team, so I actually got kind of bored of it. Yeah, they kind of end up having, like, it's got some great moments, but they've ended up just dragging it on so much.
Manga where they find the electricity. Just the art's really good for a weekly manga.
Yeah.
If you've seen any of Sunken Rock, like, oh my god, I love his art style. But anyways, but yeah, I'm super excited. I've been basically reading like a few chapters of it every day at work when it's slow. So it's been fun. I've been enjoying it. It's different, and that's I think MHA is the only like traditional battle thing I'm reading or watching right now.
Still love that. Give me more of that.
Dude, MHA's been really good lately.
Anime as well. Like,
I've loved the Endeavor arc.
Yeah.
So, but anyways.
Anyway, we're just rambling.
Yep. All right. This has been episode 63 of Podcast of 5 Rings, your source of enlightenment around with video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of 5 Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and Talk About Talk day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Check us out on Twitter, Podcast5R, Facebook, P5R Podcast, Medin Stream, our stream, whenever it never happens. Yeah. And I think we'll be doing monthly mods next weekend, possibly. So Final Fantasy, that'll be coming out like probably a few days after we get done playing the mod. So be looking forward to that. Until next time, go read some Dr. Stone, watch some Sekiro trailers.
All the good stuff.
And do your thing. We'll talk to you later.
Later.
Bye.